This isn't how anyone in Oklahoma imagined they'd be spending their Memorial Weekend, picking up the pieces of what used to be their lives.
Hearts are heavy here today in Rankin as people from all over the state come to honor the life of fallen Upton County Deputy Bubba Kennedy.
Right now I am in the bomb suit and I'm carrying the X-ray machine to X-ray this suspicious package up ahead.
I'm standing in a driveway of what used to be a house.
Fire officials who say they are worried about these areas in town where there is high grass on days where there is high winds. They say that this could spark a much bigger problem. This crash was so bad that the DPS troopers transported it here to their yard to further the investigation. Tatum Guinn, a reporter with the OA, confronted Galvan earlier today here at the ECISD administration building. She asked him about the photos which were sent to the OA by an unnamed source. Take a look at a few of the pictures which the OA has shared with us. You can see a man bagging what appears to be marijuana. OA reporter Lindsay Weaver had a 15-minute conversation with Galvan. According to the OA, Galvan acknowledged that the photos were of him, but says that they were taken several years ago. He also told the OA he believes that the photos were photoshopped. Tonight we can share with you some of the audio clips that were recorded during that conversation. Listen to this, the moment when Galvan admits to using marijuana.
I've experimented before. I mean, when all the presidents experiment, everybody experiments to a point. Sometimes I do use, I like, if I'm at a party or, maybe a concert.
The OA even took the photos up to the Odessa Police Department and asked the Narcotics Department about the photos. They say that there is no investigation involving Galvan at this time and that third-party photos similar to those obtained by the OA is not enough to substantiate a charge. There are a lot of questions surrounding these photos obtained exclusively to the OA. You can find more on that conversation with Galvan plus additional photos in tomorrow morning's edition of the Odessa American. Reporting live in Odessa, I'm Tatum Guinn, CBS 7 News.
Hurry up and wait.
It's crazy, isn't it?
That was the theme today outside of Murray Fly and Cavazos elementary schools.
Over an hour?
It's been about 2 hours.
Probably another hour. 7:30 this morning.
How long did you have to wait to get in?
2 hours.
They're all lined up for one thing: to secure a spot at their neighborhood school. A task that once took only an hour, now an all-day hassle.
We had parents out there since 3 o'clock this morning.
Michelle Bloomer waited in line for 2 hours just to get put on the waiting list today.
It's a possibility that he won't get to go here, and we just live right down the street.
Many parents are in the same boat as Bloomer, just waiting.
It's really hard. We're trying our very best to accommodate them if possible. If we don't have room on our campus, then the school district will try to find the school closest to their home.
Until parents hear from the district, they'll have to wait, uncertain about where their child will go to school this year.
Dumplings, a little diner in Odessa, is a place where people come to catch up and grab a bite. However, today all eyes were on Boston.
Catching up over breakfast. That's how the regulars at Dumplings spend their mornings. But today wasn't your typical day at the counter.
Absolutely senseless. Everybody's talking about it.
It gets people's attention.
Today, West Texans had their attention glued to something most had never seen. And it was all they could talk about.
They want to kill 4 or 5 people just with one bullet. Can you imagine with a bomb, they want the max.
You got to think, if you lived in that area, how scary that would be.
I guess it's just an example of what's going on in today's society with the lack of respect for one another, mankind.
I think that I'm so used to all these tragedies happening, I'm not even surprised by anything anymore.
People always say, I'm keeping an eye out for this or that. I say, what about that other eye?
Every person that I spoke with seemed to agree that even though we may be broken as a nation, we stand together united, even from thousands of miles away. Reporting for CBS 7 News, I'm Tatum Guinn.
I traveled with a group from Crestview Baptist Church to Moldova. It's a tiny country between the Ukraine and Romania, 6,000 miles away from Midland, Odessa. I went thinking we were going to give to the needy, but what I found was much deeper than just people in need of the bare necessities.
Moldova doesn't look like a third world country. The center of Chisinau, Moldova is always busy. High-rises and churches line the streets. As good as it may look, starving people is a serious situation that attracted the interest of Crestview Baptist Church in Midland. The Kishinev Bible Church can't feed their people alone. That's why Crestview Baptist Church was invited to provide support to continue their missions.
I mean, you don't meet a single person on this trip who hasn't had some sort of major crisis or major tragedy or going through a lot of strife, and still in the midst of that, they trust God and they're hoping for better.
The plan was for the team from Crestview to take bags of food to the elderly who live near the Kishinev Bible Church.
I've never done anything like that.
The group soon found that they were facing much more than hungry people.
Where was God when I was raped?
Moldova has a dark secret. Inside these buildings, missionaries find stories of pain, sorrow, and heartache.
All the government was just taken from Moscow to...
Life has not always been like this for Olga.
I decided to become a pilot.
She was a parachute jumper in World War II, then a nurse for 50 years. Olga tells the team how her medals and her military jacket remind her of a happier time of service before it was replaced with silence and an empty one-bedroom apartment. Her stories of the past are all she has.
This is a headache.
Before the collapse of the Soviet Union, she had everything. A job, family,
Очень красивый.
money. But now, she barely gets by. Olga's family visits her from time to time, but it doesn't happen often.
It's when it comes...
She doesn't have money to move with them, so she sits alone in her tiny home with no electricity. Believe it or not, Olga is fortunate than most. In fact, there are people worse off than she is.
They should know Christ, that there is a hope.
Hope is what the team from Crestview brings these people, even if it's just for a moment. Moldova is not what it seems. It's crippled with poverty and corruption. Kishinev Bible Church pastor Evgeny Sologubenko tells the team because there are not many jobs, a lot of the working class leave the country in search of work, leaving their children to be raised by their grandparents. However, the grandparents can't even care for themselves, let alone a child. Most of the time, children are left to raise themselves.
We're facing this new generation of kids who grow up with possibly having some financial means but no adult presence in their life.
Sologubenko says that most of the population of Moldova are very old and very young. This trend has created a new term in the country, the social orphan.
They actually have their parents, but they do not have them. Their parents send them money, and they have this money, and they do not know how to use this money correctly.
No adult presence. It leaves the children scrounging for money just to get by. It can lead these children down a dark road. The promise of money and a better life is all it takes to get them hooked into human trafficking.
All they say is, hey, I can get you papers and get you into Vienna and get you a job. And they prey on those young kids because they're impressionable. They want better for themselves.
We end up on different lists, and a lot of these lists we end up the highest human trafficking per capita, Moldova being the source country.
There is some help out there for these children. A woman who, out of fear for her own life, would only refer to herself as Natasha, is the founder of an organization called Beginning of Life that helps get women out of trafficking.
We have some girls that can be 26 years old and still are not able to read and write. Also, we've seen the other side of metal, basically women who've been normal before they got into human trafficking. And then when they came out of it, they started having certain mental issues. Some of them started having epilepsy, schizophrenia. What happened to them is that they couldn't basically take the pain out of them. Moldovan women are pretty closed in. They don't share about their feelings. So they just kept all the pain to themselves. And because of that trauma, they basically isolated from other people, and a lot of them are in really deep depression. We have suicide attempts. We had sometimes people who do the human trafficking, trying to steal the girls. Sometimes we even had some girls had so much fear that they would even go into coma.
Natasha says the women come in broken down, lifeless. She works to bring them out of their dark place.
If it doesn't break us, it makes us stronger.
Natasha runs a safe house for the women to recover. Natasha says she's on a mission of hope to save these women and keep it from happening to others.
So we're trying to make it clear to them that the important thing is what's happening to them right now. We show them love and we accept them the way they are.
Evgeny Sologubenko and his church team are on this same mission, to give people hope who are in a hopeless situation.
The name of Jesus Christ and God's word to be taken to every corner of Moldova and beyond.
But having hope is hard. The prayers of the Moldovan people can be heard throughout the country. Some pray for better health. Others pray for a job. They're all praying for better times for their country.
This is what Memorial Weekend looks like in Moore, Oklahoma. Pride in the midst of tragedy. Serving is nothing new for this group of war heroes. In fact, they've given up a weekend meant to honor them, to serve the people of Oklahoma.
So I couldn't think of a better way to remember my fallen friends and to serve the people of Moore that really are in need right now.
The group spent today going down the street, stopping to help wherever they could.
And there's a wall right there, so there's nothing here. We met with the owner, offered our services, and she let us know that one of her sons had passed away during the storm. All we were trying to do was just find stuff from her son.
Now leveled homes were as far as the eye could see in this neighborhood. It was the hardest hit.
This is worse than any combat zone. It seriously is. I mean, this is terrible. I don't know, I'm pretty tough, you know, don't really do emotion very well, but, you know, it kind of turns a concrete heart to mud.
This is just one of many more Memorial Weekends to come for Captain Anthus, but it's one he won't forget anytime soon. It's not just the veterans that we found that have dedicated their Memorial Weekend to the victims here in Moore, Oklahoma. There are people from literally all over the world coming to offer a helping hand and help the people get back on their feet. For now, reporting in Moore, Oklahoma, I'm Tatum Guinn, CBS 7 News.